thought that I was playing in the past. Now I'm super fast, real raw, relevant. I'm also known as super bad, with a super attitude. If you don't like it, you can book a pass and be the first in line to kiss mine. Wait a minute, what I mean is I'm a lion, not a sheep. I don't need a weakling around to try to follow me. I'm destined to be better, get it bigger every day. I don't got the patience to sit around try to play. Focus like an animal, king of the jungle can.
Hey, product placement.
My voice is the best sound.
Del Taco. I'm just kidding.
We doing product placement here?
Hell yeah.
My friends, welcome to the Revolution podcast. I am Sean Whalen, as usual.
You can introduce me.
Is that what I'm supposed to do? You got to get close to the mic. These
check,
are very,
check.
very expensive microphones.
Costco?
Yeah, we got them at Costco. They're like in a 2-pack. But we might need some more just because the podcast is growing so much. Are we good, Jake? Are we going? Are we recording? You think so? So far we haven't done a single podcast. We haven't had one that we weren't recording. Have you ever done that before? You think you're recording and you're not, and you're done, and you're like, dude, that was badass. Oh shit, we didn't turn on the microphones.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm not as tech savvy. Guys, we have Scott Warner with us.
Pleasure.
Scott's a big deal. Tell everybody why you're a big deal, Scott.
I benched 400. I ran a 4.5. And
there's no way you're benching 400 right now.
I did.
There's not a snowball's chance in hell that you could bench 400 pounds.
So what are you
right
saying,
now.
dude?
I'll bet you $5,000 you can't put up 400 pounds right now.
I can't. I like to believe that I can.
I just by looking at you. No offense. There's no way you're putting up 400 pounds, bro.
I have a beautiful wife and 4 kids. I think that's where I'm
talking to the microphone. Remember, Costco.
Okay, Costco. Yeah. I have a beautiful wife and 4 kids, which to me is what I feel makes me the coolest out there. I'm a cool dad, and but no, I like business and being an entrepreneur. But I have a decent Twitter following Yeah,
that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with you. Is it's like not just social media, but I was listening to Joe Rogan this morning. And he was talking about the media, and like you and I talk all the time. You know,
right.
Scott and I have known each other for years, and getting more and more active and doing some stuff together, the political world, social media, social influencers. Talk about Gigg in a minute and like what you're doing with all that. But Joe was talking about the media, and he was talking about like how he was watching during the election, right after the election. And I did the same thing. I had Fox and CNN, and it was like I just switched between the 2 channels. And it was like 2 radically different conversations happening, and he's like, one of them's fucking lying. He's like, who's lying? But Joe's whole point was talking about how the media, I mean, they're not here to help us. The media doesn't wake up, the Fox, ABC, NBC, CNN, CBS, they're not getting up in the morning saying we need to help the commoners. We need to enlighten and empower the folks around the country.
Right.
It's a business. And they're peddled by, and they're pushed, and they peddle whatever the agenda is based off of who is funding everything. And so it's just an interesting thing because you and I are very active in social media.
Yep.
Have built decent sized followings, whether it's, your big gig is no pun intended, Twitter, which I'm not very active on.
Yeah, you got to get with it, bro.
I got to get with Twitter, but I'm bigger on Facebook and then following on Instagram. But it's fascinating to me. We had this conversation the other day about media and like the direction.
Yep.
Like where it's going, because I don't think it's sustainable what we're doing right now. I don't think the amount of bullshit that's being fed to us is sustainable. I think more and more people are waking up,
getting smarter.
Maybe they're getting smarter. Maybe they're just sick of it. Maybe they're so confused. But I don't see the current like trajectory of mainstream media being sustastible.
It's a sinking ship. I mean, let's talk about Donald Trump for a second, for real. I mean, based on everything that I saw.
Did you vote for him, by the way?
I did.
Good.
And this is the first time I've admitted anywhere. I don't get too heavy into politics for a few reasons.
This will only be listened to by half of the country, so only half of the country will know about it.
That's all right. But I will be honest. Trump, to me, that's not saying much for me. And you know, I looked at the two options, Hillary and Donald Trump, and I felt that Donald was the better fit of the two. I don't like a lot of Trump's antics, but I like he is a businessman, and you look at the economy currently, you can't deny what's happening there, which is something that's commendable. But gosh, man, sometimes I just wish he would keep his mouth shut. But
I love it.
I know that you love it, but there's a time and a place. There's something special about the fact that the man is very open and clear about his feelings. You do the same thing, and the truth is, I believe the people that do that this day and age are the ones that are going to excel, and the ones that are going to have a stronger voice amongst the garbage that's out there. And so you and I have talked about this. Social media is the key in so many ways. I mean, based on what I was seeing, in social media, Trump's a piece of garbage, this, and this, the media firing out all this garbage about the man. How in the hell could he ever win the presidency?
Right.
How is that even possible?
He literally had Fox, ABC, NBC,
that's right.
Every single political pundit on the planet laughed at him.
That's right.
They mocked him.
But then, the night of the election, I'll never forget, I think it was the New York Times that said, hey, ladies and gentlemen, based on the numbers that we're seeing, Donald Trump is going to win this 99%. And I looked at my wife, I'm like, did you just see that? Did you just see what was said? And then all of a sudden the numbers started pouring in. And I will tell you right now, it was social media that did it, and smart people that are getting smarter. It proved that democracy, it proved that the nation, they do have a voice. And this man he's in the White House right now. And so.
It's interesting because I'm not really sure where we're going. Meaning, I have my opinions of mainstream media, but social media really is where a majority of people are picking up their information.
News. Yep.
And we can look at it from, anybody listening to this, you're probably listening to this on a smartphone. You're probably listening to this through iTunes or on YouTube or whatever, platform we put this on.
Right.
You're not watching this on TV. You're not listening to any of the podcasts that you're listening to on TV. You're not listening to the books. You're not consuming your content through your television. And if you think about a majority of the marketing dollars, advertising, so on and so forth, is being put through mainstream media for that platform of television, right?
Right.
And I think what's really fascinating is exactly what you said, that mainstream media didn't want Donald Trump. He was beautiful for business. He was phenomenal for business because they ate every single tweet up and every single freaking Facebook post and every single thing that he did. It became the talking point of the nighttime news or this or that or the other. But if you think about the persuasion that happened, came through social media.
That's right.
It came through you and me and him and her and the quote unquote commoners.
That's right.
Sharing those messages and talking about those messages.
That's right. Do you know that YouTube, it's funny, I was just yesterday with my close friend Ryan Smith. He's the CEO of Qualtrics, and we were talking about social media, and I'm working on a campaign that we hope to get implemented soon. But he said YouTube puts one video out of a kid getting shot, right, by a police officer. Starts a revolution. Everyone in the nation is talking about it from a social media platform or Facebook or Twitter. There's live posts that go out of, a beating that's taken place, the recent Charlottesville. There are things happening out there that if it's something that is, causes a stir amongst the people, if it's shared on social media, it can start a revolution, literally. Mm-hmm. I bet you if Justin Bieber said, girls, slit your wrists, there'd be deaths all over. That's how sad is that? But I bet you that kid has enough influence on this little girl somewhere that if he said that, that would happen. And he would do it through social media. So there's so much bad that could go along with social media, and yet so much good. But I think people's eyes are being opened every day. So in your opinion, where is mainstream media going? Because if you think about it, and this is, everybody listening to this, I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, I don't care if you're an employee, but when you look at the simple economics of things, the mainstream media, all media for that matter, even Facebook, Facebook is built on ads. Facebook is built on revenue. It's built on advertisers and people coming through, and there's far more diversity in the Facebook world, but at the same time, it's obviously switching into a more liberal
minded conversation. But if you stop and think about it, nobody's watching TV ads anymore.
Nope.
I mean, we TiVo everything.
Nope.
And if we do sit down to watch TV, nobody's freaking watching ads anymore, commercials, so on and so forth. Gary Vee's been talking about this.
Yep.
Anybody who's got anything to do with social media marketing, branding,
Yep.
so on and so forth, realizes this. So the real question is like, where does that leave mainstream media? Like, to me, it's almost, in watching it, it's they're trying to throw Hail Marys. It's like getting more and more and more intense, more and more and more dramatic. Yep. All of the stories, the way they're reporting on shit is becoming so dramatic that, like, to me, it's almost desperation. Like, look at us, look at us, look at us. It is
desperation. It is desperation.
Think so?
100%. So it's funny that you asked me this question, and I'm probably sharing more than I probably should, but I've spent some time
Share all of it.
I've spent some time with some executives that oversee 170 news stations across North America. 170. They own the largest. Actually, I'll just say, I am talking to executives at one of the biggest media outlets in the world, saying you are out of your mind to not focus all your efforts on social media. If you really think that people are spending time outside of the old dogs, and no offense, old dogs, I'm setting my ways on, I still buy CDs, right? Some people think I'm a moron for that. That's just me, Some buy records. I'm actually getting records, but that's old school, right? It's all about streaming and listening to stuff, on iTunes or Pandora or Beats or whatever. I am telling this group, they're out of their minds to not make an effort to push news all through social channels and to focus their earnings, or where they're trying to make money, there, because everyone goes. I go to Twitter for my news. You probably go to Facebook. I don't know. Everyone goes somewhere different. But these news stations that are still focused on putting out nightly news and morning news, that stuff will be completely irrelevant before we know it. And the other thing is, there are some incredible writers. There are some incredible content creators like yourself, right? You share news and talk about things, right? There are some people that probably rely on you on news and your outlook or thought process on the different current events that are happening in the world.
When something big happens, I'll get multiple messages from people saying,
what do you think?
Dude, do a video on this. What do you think about this?
Yep.
What's your response to this? Like the teacher, or not the teacher, but the lady in the hospital in Salt Lake who got arrested by that cop. I had so many people tag me in that, say, Sean, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, I don't know all the facts, but whatever. But it's true. I mean, we're relying on such a different paradigm
completely of
content nowadays.
That's right.
Versus your old school nightly news guy, Tom Brokaw. What was his name? The old school dude with the freaking amazing voice who just sounded like a total, suave
news guy.
He's a news guy. He was born to be a news guy.
That's right. Anchorman.
So where do you think the time span is on mainstream media? And what I mean by mainstream media is your TV, your CNN, because a lot of those platforms obviously now have online. CNN has Facebook page, Fox, ABC, NBC. What do you see as, in your opinion, the timeline of TV mainstream media?
This is my personal opinion. I think that both groups you just mentioned look very desperate right now. And they're throwing out whatever they can, and they're embellishing. And I mean, I watched the other day at Charlottesville, a news, one of the correspondents out there was interviewing a guy, and he threw out some it was a black dude in Charlottesville, and he said, so what do you think about all this craziness? And he basically said, I think this is a bunch of BS. Some of my best friends are white folks, right? I love them, and they love me. And he's like, this is a bunch of crap, man. We've been shoved this, force-fed all this crap for so many years, over the color of a crayon. Did you see that? Mm-mm. And the guy turned away. He's like, okay, and back to you, Susie. We don't want to hear any more of what you're saying, because what you're telling us is the truth.
It doesn't fit the agenda.
That's right. It doesn't fit the agenda. But what I'm saying is, I believe in 5 to 10 years, once the folks that are very familiar with the news, being on nightly news, early morning news, whatever, as they slowly start dying off or not becoming more interested, we're going to see that thing slowly die.
It's kind of like the newspaper. I picked up a newspaper.
What's a newspaper?
Yeah, exactly. I picked up a newspaper the other day, and I was like, what do I do with this thing? Like, this thing's telling me something, but it seems like it should be so old.
Right.
Like, I read it, and I'm like, by the time I'm done reading this, it's already it's already old. I should just go online to find find something else out. What's interesting is Gary V did a podcast with Joe Rogan, in fact, and he was talking about, and I think I've shared this before on the podcast, but he was talking about how the way that media has advanced and the way that technology has advanced. If you look at like the radio, I mean, families used to gather around the radio at night for programming, and they would listen to, they had kids shows, and then they had, the news, and then a family program, and they were these literal programs like we have, on regular TV now. Well, then you introduce the TV, and there's kind of the old school people that were like, screw the TV, it's never going to work, it's not going to stay around, I'm sticking to the radio. And then they end up dying off. Well, the early adapters to the TV, the guys who were putting out content, so on and so forth, enter the news, enter all these other channels, they became kind of those early adopters. They became the revolutionists, if you will, and holy cow, there's this new format, there's this new way to deliver technology, to deliver information. Well, then you take the advancement of the smartphone, which if you really think about it, I mean, when did the first iPhone come out? Jake, do you know when the first iPhone came out?
It's like 2010.
I was going to say, hasn't he,
2010,
6 years, 7 years?
And look at what's changed.
In the grand scheme of, I mean, look at literally how fast things have changed with the smartphone, because you had your laptop prior to that and your flip phone, and now all of a sudden you have everything on I can run my entire business off of my phone in my pocket. I don't need an office. I don't need the laptop. I don't need the whole thing. But when you think about it, he was talking about how we're still in the infancy stages of that adaptation. We went from the radio to the TV to the smartphone, and the people that are coming in, social influencers who are coming in and creating media outlets, shows, channels through YouTube, through Facebook. I mean, Facebook is now starting to move forward on their own content creation. So their own TV shows that you'll literally be able to watch on Facebook. I think as fast as the smartphone has come on the scene and literally taken over, I think you're going to see within a really quick period of time here, TVs, they won't become obsolete because we watch TVs or we watch movies and shows and shit like that at home. But you're not going to see those really being the forefront of our education anymore. Like, no one's going to turn there for news anymore. People are like, dude, I'm done with that. I would rather watch a movie. I'd rather put a movie on for the kids or whatever. Watch sports, watch the Dodgers, the Yankees, whatever, versus try and consume information there, because all of our information will be consumed on the smartphone.
Are you aware of the statistics on the box office this year?
Oh, I just know that they're getting slaughtered.
Worst numbers by far in the history of movie making, film making. They're getting destroyed.
Why? Why do you think that is?
It's because Game of Thrones and House of Cards and Suits. These are all shows, brilliant shows with great actors that are now being made available on a little thing called an iPhone or a Droid. People don't want to go sit next to a dude that's farting in the movie theater. Or talking to his wife about what's happening right here. People are like, I'm just gonna watch it in my own home, hang out with my family, my kids, my wife. That's where this thing is going. It's such easy. It's so easy to access. It's right here. This is where everything's going, man. So interesting stat for you.
I've obviously seen that and watched, and it's like everybody's butt sore, and this movie's losing this, and this movie's losing that. It's an interesting time, man, because
it's awesome.
Technology, I think it's brilliant. Technology has moved so fast in such a short period of time. It's really interesting to think about how much of our businesses, I mean, your business, my business, in literally the last 24 months have become reliant, based off of, founded in, pushed through social media.
Right now, so I'll tell you why things are going really good for me with Bit. What is Gigg? I'll tell you what Gigg is real quick. My passion is music. I think the greatest opportunity in the history of music is right this very second on the business side. The music industry is completely in shambles. Anyone that tries to say that it's not is out of their mind. They have, all artists would agree. But as I started developing strategies to help artists and get themselves out there and so on, I realized that what I was creating was something that could benefit everyone. businesses, both small and enterprise level. And, I just finished with a company like an hour ago that's doing $200 million a year, and they don't have a flipping clue how to drive or push their business through social media. And this seems to be the case for the vast majority of businesses out there. Some of the big dogs definitely understand it, and they're flourishing because of it. But what it is I do right now, I mean, I've built 7 or 8 companies without spending $1 on marketing. All I have used 100% is social media and influencers
right,
to talk about the brand. The truth is, if Sean Whalen goes to Bam Bam's Barbecue, my restaurant, or he uses, Spark Naturals, or, some of the companies that I've had a chance to work with, or that I'm currently working with now, if you're talking about it and you're liking it, I'm in a much better position to push my product, because people listen to Sean Whalen's. People listen to, Travis Pastrana's. People listen to Jill Neistel. These different people that I work with. So a lot of people just don't get it when it comes to how powerful social media can be. And if you have a message to share with the world, I'm talking about an artist that has a message to share with the world through their music, a guy that's passionate about the current state of our country, wants to do things to help our country, a blogger that has a great recipe on cookies because I like cookies. If you have a message to share with the world, there is no better opportunity than what sits in front of you right now, which is social media. And you can run a business from right here. You just got to be smart about it. And so
where do you see music going? I know that you remember the days of was it LimeWire, where you used to steal all the songs? LimeWire, what was the other one?
Napster was the...
You remember those days? Of course I do. So where do you see music going? I haven't bought a CD. Dude, I have not bought a CD
4 hours?
in I don't even know how long.
Sony just shut down their warehouse? Done.
Years and years and years and years. I have not bought a CD.
That's right. I
mean, everything's on. I bought tons of albums on iTunes.
Yeah, I think the world is calling for, and again, this is my opinion, but I think a lot of people would agree with me on this. Music needs a facelift. I think that people are getting tired of butts and drugs and sex, rock and roll, and the greatest musicians on the planet had a message to share with the world. And they were fortunate to get discovered by someone with business acumen that understood the game, that could get these artists that had a message to share with the world and get them on the radio, right? I think that we have better tools than music has ever had through social media. It's a matter of there's so many artists out there. I mean, technology these days, anyone can be an artist, right? But I think that there are artists out there that actually have a message to share with the world, and the world's ready to listen. And it's got to be something different. And my goal is to find those people. And every day I get closer. I'm building software that I'm really proud of and excited about. I continue to build my network of people that I think feel the same way that I do. Artists need to be taken care of. I think they've been pushed to the side a little bit. I really am focused on trying to find ways to help them monetize their great work. But it has to be great work. They have to have music that's different, that sets them apart. We don't want to hear things that we've already heard. And if you get on the radio, a lot of times you cannot discern or decide who's who because it all sounds the same. But like back when we first started listening to music, you hear the first 5 beats, Enter Sandman, Metallica.
Yeah.
That's all you need to hear.
Well, that's like comparing today's hip hop to like Biggie. I mean, it's not even close. It's not even close.
Pac or Biggie.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, just talking about social media, talking about artists and the whole thing. I mean, I don't know that I could say, well, and I'm not in the music business, but these guys are making buku bucks.
Who?
I mean, Taylor Swift.
Sure.
I mean,
millions of dollars put behind her. She's look. I'm not downing Taylor Swift. She's a great songwriter, great performer.
Well, that's what I'm curious about is where do you see things going? Not just from the music, because I think what's interesting is what you're doing with Gigg is it parallels a lot of different dynamics.
Yeah,
like you talk about politics and this whole thing, and I think what I'm hearing you say is that personal, finding the quality of the music versus just some dude who shows up who has can start a YouTube channel and pumps out a bunch of garbage and then he disappears in a year or something like that. But the real question is where do you see Gigg helping or pushing people into the music industry. One, to create profitability, because obviously everybody wants to get paid. You want to get paid. They want to get paid. But where do you see the future of it?
Yeah. To go into that, first of all, music is subjective. You know, a lot of kids probably are very happy with the music that they're hearing right now. And that's totally fine.
Dude. I mean, look at like, not to interrupt, but like the EDM. I mean, dude, anybody with a friggin' mixer and some shit that they got down at a local pawn shop is cranking out stuff. And some of these cats, like, you literally, they're making millions of dollars getting paid by Vegas casinos
100%.
who wear fucking robot hats
Cascade
that nobody even knows who they
deal.
are.
Yeah.
But some of these cats are making literally tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
Yeah, EDM is
You know
money,
what I mean?
man. EDM is money. There's a couple artists that really have it together. I'll tell you this.
'Cause that's what he listens to. That's
You an EDM
that's
guy?
his joint.
But let me tell you something. If Beethoven had the tools that are available today,
Yeah,
he would use them.
for sure.
For sure he would. You want to move faster and put out good stuff. I mean, really, it's what's available. But okay, so to answer your question, number one, the music business is the artists. It's not a record label and it's not a publisher. It is the artist. I believe that there are tools now available to help artists monetize in ways that have never, ever been there before. They just need to know how to use them. So software, number one. Number two, a bulldog. And I'm talking about a sales guy or a manager, a guy that knows how to go out and handle business, aligning artists with the right potential partners, whether it's a business, other influencers,
Brands.
brands, collaborations amongst other artists. You know, I think that there's a huge opportunity there. Events are alive and well. That's one part of music that has definitely remained intact. So a good tour, you know, teaming up or touring with other artists that, you know, can help bring heads to the house. But above all, I think that we are in the next couple years, we're going to start seeing, you know, the artists that the most revolutionary artists had a message to share with the world, and it was something different. I mean, I remember the first time I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana. Oh my hell. I was like, what is this? What is this? I listened to it over and over. I was blown away. And then I remember my dad showing me the Beatles. I remember him showing me Bob Dylan. And I remember hearing Aretha Franklin's voice for the first time, or Whitney Houston. You know, there's a lot of artists today that I really like too, but something that's different, and there is a message that resonates with the people that are listening. The world is calling for some of those right now. You know why Bruno Mars is winning? Incredible performer, great writer, but he'll openly admit, you know, he's dabbling with the Stevie Wonder stuff. He's dabbling with a little the Michael Jackson stuff. He's working with a lot of the stuff that he has seen worked before, and people are loving it. They're loving it, man. And he owns that. He owns it, and he does it well. I think that we're going to see some artists emerge. There's a couple right now that I've seen, but we're going to see some artists emerge that are going to give us something that we haven't heard before.
So you think, in your opinion, we're moving towards a quality versus a quantity
For sure.
market there?
100%.
See, I agree with that for a couple different reasons. I see that happening with social influencers as well.
Right.
Everybody has a fucking cell phone.
Everybody.
Every single person listening to this probably right now has a smartphone. I mean, simply because they don't fucking sell flip phones anymore at the thing. Practically everything's is a smartphone.
That's right.
So everyone has the same opportunity, if you will. Yep. Everybody has the same tools, if you will. Uh-huh. The question is who will stand out? So you're saying in the music industry that we're going from just crank them out, like just put them up on the top shelf, and then he dies and we just bring somebody else in and bring somebody else in. Yeah. You think that we're moving towards a quality-based music world.
The world's calling for it.
But it's all going to happen through technology because, dude, the last time I listened to the radio, I mean, I listened to Sirius or XM, but the last time I listened to the radio, I mean, so you think it's going to happen, quality artists coming through the digital world of social media.
And they better have a message, because if they have a message that resonates, the world's going to listen. So I also believe that it's going to be a smart business team behind the scenes that will help push the artist in a way that the artist won't be able to do. You know, they're creatives, right? So a lot of these artists that came out early on that became huge, they had a great business-minded, individual behind the scenes that was pushing and promoting them. We have the greatest tool in the world to discover the artists. Once we do discover them, we bring them in, make sure that their music is done right, they get the right producer, they get the right engineer, they're writing the right stuff, and it needs to come from the heart. But then there's going to be business behind the scenes that take place, and it is no longer selling units. Don't plan on selling, CDs, records, cassette tapes, 8 tracks. That is not the game anymore. Your music is nothing but a business card. You want to get your business card out to as many people as possible. And let's say that you've gotten your business card out through social media to millions and millions of people. How are you going to capitalize? That's the ultimate question. And I think that there is software, there is strategy, there are different ways to promote artists that have never been seen before. And I think that's where the new music industry is going to be. And that's...
There's a dollar behind it though, man.
Always.
Like, just like there is with CNN, Fox, and ABC, and NBC, and Facebook, and Instagram, and the whole thing. So...
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm still learning. I don't know everything. I have my thoughts and feelings on it, but it's cool to see Macklemore, get out there and make things happen, win awards, and he had his team. He didn't have a record label.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He did everything by himself. Huh?
He sure did. And
he packed venues and did really, really well.
That's right.
Touring.
And how did he do that?
Social media
And a badass business team behind him.
Yeah. So what would you say to people who, I think there's a couple different ways we can take the conversation, obviously with, the fading light, if you will, of mainstream media.
Yep.
For people who want to really inject, people who feel like they have a message, people who feel like they have a story. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I consider myself, I guess I'm somewhat of a social influencer. I've got hundreds of millions of views, which I've been able to build a business off of that, but there's obviously people that are far bigger than me, and there's some people that are just starting. But what would you say?
Too, dude.
I know I am just getting started, but what would you say to people that feel like they have a message, they want to share it? Because we've already established we have an equal playing field, because basically everybody's got a Droid phone or a friggin', an iPhone, so you can shoot a video, post it on YouTube, share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter and everywhere else in the world. Mm-hmm. What would you say to people who, one, are either in the music business or in the social influencer business that realize I'm not going to go the route of mainstream media, I need to use social media, want to use social media? What would you say to those people in how they could not only just plant, their flag, but build a business or make a dent in the marketplace?
Be real and be honest.
I've heard that a couple times before. I think I might have said that once or twice. That was not scripted, my friends. I didn't tell them to say that either.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's just truth, and truth will always win. The people that will find success they're real. They're honest. I think one of the reasons that you are so effective in what it is that you're doing is you are speaking truth and you are being real. You don't give a damn what anyone thinks. You don't care what I think, what this guy thinks, what that guy thinks. You are just speaking from your heart and being real. The best artists in the world were the guys that spoke truth. Mm-hmm. And the lyrics that they pushed out to the world came from their heart, and people heard it, felt it, found common ground with it. It's fascinating to me. The best presidents to ever run or be the president of our country were the ones that spoke from their heart, and people got behind them because they spoke truth. The greatest bloggers on the planet right now speak truth. They're not always perfect, right? You can slip up. You can.
Well, dude, nobody is. That's what makes it beautiful.
So why portray yourself? Everyone makes social media. Everyone makes social media their highlight reel.
Right.
It's okay to fail.
Make it
and
your
talk
real,
about it.
real.
And you've talked about your failures openly with people. And, I'll talk for a second about my Aunt Jill. My Aunt Jill owns or runs, and I was fortunate to partner up and work with her, has one of the biggest blogs in the world. And you know what she did? She opened up about the fact that she was an alcoholic and she screwed up and she failed, right? She was open and honest about that. And I think that people found a way to find common ground with her because they were having the same issues. And she has loyal followers all over the world. And so, number one, you want success in life, especially with social media, be real and be honest. And people will follow the leaders that truly have a message.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's really fascinating to see, you look at Biggie's to me, Biggie's the best ever.
Yep.
But you think about some of the lyrics everybody can resonate. Everybody can relate to what it is that he says in a lot of his songs.
It was all a dream. I used to read
Word Up magazine. I was just literally thinking that exact same thing. Everybody used to read the magazines. Everybody used to look at that and say, I want the big house. I want the big car. Right. I want to be a baller. I want this. I want that.
Shakala 20-inch. Sorry.
You're not a rapper, dude.
But you might be surprised.
Anyway, but what's interesting to me is to me the median. That's the differentiating factor between somebody who's average, somebody who gets a couple of clicks, a couple of likes, and somebody who just has mom and grandma and your neighborhood pals watching and liking your shit, and somebody who's truly denting the universe is somebody who, I mean, look at The Rock, okay? Dwayne Johnson. He's crushing social media. He's crushing social media because he's real, man. He turns his phone. There's no green screen. There's no bullshit.
That's
he's
right.
like, this is the deal. He swears. He says exactly what the fuck he wants to say, how he wants to say it. And he's got tens of millions of followers, and he's one of the most effective social influencers from the Hollywood world on social media, simply because he truly doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks.
And it works.
Look at Tommy Lauren, right? Tommy Lauren was with The Blaze, with Glenn Beck, who went full freaking postal. I mean, who the hell knows where his brain went, but a different conversation for a different day if you're a Glenn Beck fan. Yeah. But if you look at her, she was, blowing up and had this great show, and she started speaking her truth. She's like, no, here's how I feel about abortion and the whole thing, which was like totally contrary to what Glenn Beck thought and the quote unquote media. Well, it caused this huge rift. And now look at her. She's blowing up. She's even bigger because more people are like, not necessarily that I agree with her message. It's the fact that she's going to stand by what it is that she thinks, she believes.
Always.
And it doesn't matter who likes it or doesn't like it. And I think that's the really, really, really interesting fact. And to me, that's why I see mainstream media slipping. I see mainstream media's star kind of fading, as we used to idolize these people. We saw the late night news anchor, and we're like, oh my God, this guy knows everything. He's going to tell me what's going on in the world. And who invaded who, and I trust him. We don't trust anybody anymore. That's right. Because we literally watch bullshit happening. But yet some freaking asshole picks up an iPhone and talks about his thoughts, his feelings on this, or this. And people are like, amen, I agree. I resonate with that. You listen to a hip hop artist or a lyricist or somebody who's talking about real stuff, real life, real experiences. And you're like, I dig that, versus a mumbling and jumbling and somebody else.
People want truth. They're
starving for
truth.
People are starving for it.
And if you can give it to them, you can tell if someone is speaking truth. I think we all have that intuition. And because society tells us to live or think or do things a certain way, we turn into someone we're not. Mm-hmm. And so don't ever let society turn you into someone you're not. Be you, be real, follow your heart. Anytime that I don't follow my gut or my heart, I lose. Yeah. I can never tell you one time that I didn't, that I won not listening to what I know to be right in my heart. And, not everyone's going to agree with my way of thinking, but the fact of the matter is the people that I do, speak with through social media or that I engage with there, I think that they know that I'm speaking from my heart. And that's why I believe I win, and it sure as hell is why you win.
Well, it's funny because watching what you're doing in the music world, I've been seeing a lot of the stuff that you do and the people that you hang out with and talk to. You don't find a lot of puppets there.
No,
there aren't a lot of people that are sitting, waiting to be told what to do. There's a lot of people that are making up their own mind. And if it doesn't work, if it doesn't go the way that they want it to go, cool. We revamp, we regroup, and we do it again. And I think that's where a lot of people are scared. Not just on the conversation of media, but people are just scared, period, to speak their truth. My constant message with Lions Not Sheep has been add value. People are like, what does that mean? I'm just a college kid, or I'm this, or I'm this, or I'm just your average guy who's got a couple of kids and a wife and a white picket fence and a 9-to-5 job making $80,000 a year. I'm like, what adding value means is adding you. Who are you? Where do you come from? What do you understand? What's your ideology, your psychology around this, or this? How do you differentiate yourself in raising your children versus the way you were raised? I mean, all of these, literally every single day you and I are going through life, without making it sound so elementary, but every single thing happening is the value.
That's right.
That's what people are ultimately wanting, and that's why I see the star of mainstream media fading, is it's just peddled shit.
People get
it's
sick of it.
fabricated shit to just try and either fearmonger or to this or to this or this.
It's money.
And I think more and more people are turning to that social influencer role. The people that they know, like they'll turn into me because I'm not gonna bullshit you. I'm gonna tell you what's really happening, and you know, it's a fascinating phenomenon. It really is, but it's beautiful. I love it.
I love it too.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Where do you see social media going?
Oh, it's only going to get bigger.
How though? How? I mean, Facebook's got 2 billion, quote unquote, 2 billion users. Where do you see where do you see social media going in the next couple of years?
I think Facebook will always be there. I think that Facebook has owned that market. I doubt, look, anyone can knock down the Goliath, right? Some kid may be thinking up something that could be stronger than Facebook. I think they're here to stay. I think there'll be 3 or 4 or 5 or 20 new new social media platforms that show up over the course of our days, but it will always be the place where people go to interact and engage. So in some cases, it's unfortunate because, you know, a lot of these younger kids, they depend more on, you know, self-esteem with their social media pages than they do just engaging in general. But that is how the world is spinning, and you gotta move with it. But it will only get bigger, and so if you're going to engage there, make sure that you're being real. People are so tired of fakes because they're everywhere. The real ones will shine 100%.
It's the lighthouse concept.
Yes, sir.
I've said that once or twice before. It always seems to come back to that. That's what's really fascinating to me, is it comes back to that. What's the trick with social media? What's the algorithm? What's this? Yeah, anybody can learn ads. It's easy to learn ads. It's easy to learn how to promote and market. What's the differentiating factor? What's going to set me apart from him or her? What's going to make my blog blow up versus their blog?
Right.
It's telling the truth.
That's right.
Period.
Always
telling the truth. What makes this artist? What makes, you know, The Rock more powerful than him or him? He just tells you the truth, and he doesn't care if you like it or not. Plain and simple, done and done.
Only because you said that, I can name a handful of artists that, man, they delivered one of the most brilliant albums ever, their first album, and it's what they wrote. Then they got aligned with some label, and all of a sudden, they sound nothing like I had once heard when I listened to that first album. There you go. Not speaking truth. You know what happened to those bands?
Dude, you want to know what's crazy? I was driving down the canyon the other day and picking out some new music for this ride that I just went on, and I pulled up Linkin Park's new album. Have you heard Linkin Park's new album?
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know, if you listen to their new album, you wouldn't even know it's Linkin Park. It's like a pop band.
Yeah.
It literally sounds like pop. And I'm not knocking. There's some dope songs on there. There was some really cool shit that I heard, but it's radically
Hybrid Theory,
different.
Their first one.
And maybe they decided to do that. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't know the numbers behind, you know, whether they sold this many on this album or this album, but I would be willing to bet that Hybrid Theory is without question.
Oh yeah.
Their biggest, and nothing that they put out will ever be bigger than that.
Yep. No, Meteora was close, but I honestly believe that they had, you know, their mind shifted a bit based on maybe some of the influence that they had outside. But people want truth, and you can hear it in what they deliver, whether it's through music, whether it's through social media, videos, content that they share. Be consistent and be honest, and you'll get a good following.
My friends, go check out Gigg.com. How can everybody else find you?
Scott Warner 18 on all social channels. Would love to engage with all of you. So
some people, you're going to pick up some haters after this one.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Let them hate.
That's how it works. My friends, go follow Scott. I appreciate it, man. It's funny that you're saying some of the stuff you're saying, because it you know, like minds attract, and you and I have had a lot of conversations about this, and it seems to be, it just keeps coming back around to this.
That's right.
You can try and manipulate it. You can try and change it. You can try and tweak it. You can try and alter it. You can try to work around this, that, or the other. But at the end of the day, it always comes back to truth. It always comes back to that vulnerability of telling people who the fuck you really are, what you really believe, what you really think, without any filters, without any smoke screens, without any bullshit. And those are the people that are taking off. Those are the people that are winning.
Yes, sir.
All right, my friends, thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Adios. We're out.